On Monday afternoon, the Philadelphia Eagles made a slightly surprising decision. They decided to part ways with head coach Doug Pederson, and ever since then, there has been a barrage of potential candidates and bizarre interviews, including Jared Mayo, who isn't even the best mayo because garlic mayo exists, who have been linked with the Eagles post. What I'm going to do today, I'll rank my top candidates for the position. Who would I hire if I was Jeffrey Lurie? Who wouldn't I hire? And what are my reservations with those candidates? My name is Liam Jenkins. Buckle up, let's get into it. As always, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I know it is a stressful time to be an Eagles fan right now. If you wouldn't mind sticking around and hitting that subscribe button, I promise you we have got plenty of content on the horizon. And if you want to continue this conversation, the PSN Eagles Nation group chat is the place to do it. Over 600 members, it's free to join. There's a link in the description below. Don't miss out on some fun this offseason. Okay, let's start with the in-house candidate. And I'm not even going to mention Press Taylor because I do not want to even associate him with a potential head coaching position. And if the Eagles are in a spot where they don't want him promoted and they want fresh blood and fresh minds, I don't think Press Taylor's going to cut it. Juice Staley, however, is someone that absolutely should be a leading candidate. I mean, it has been surprising pretty much every single year he's been the running backs coach up to this point that he hasn't been linked with an offensive coordinator role, and when he has, that he somehow stayed in Philadelphia. Now there is a potential for him to not only move up one spot, but potentially a second with that head coaching availability. Jeffrey Lurie has said as much, and as a former Eagles running back, he has been praised for his intensity, for his attitude, and even Malcolm Jenkins took to Twitter to give his seal of approval, which I think should say all you need to know. Not only has Staley been around the city of brotherly love for quite some time, but he has also worked with some of the best minds in football. Andy Reid is one of them. I would say Doug Pederson, but that might be debatable at this point. Having grinded his way up the rankings to the running back coach and now assistant head coach position, I feel like there's nobody better that understands this system, that understands the offense the Eagles have. And if they want to keep that the same, if they just want a new coach to continue what they previously built, which took a few years, bear in mind, I think Juice Staley is probably the best candidate for it. He's learned under Reid, he's learned under Pederson, he's experienced success with a Super Bowl win, he's experienced failures with whatever happened this season, and more importantly, he's developed running back talent. Look no further than Miles Sanders. We had Josh Adams looking like a legitimate running back a few years ago. Wendell Smallwood even looked the part under Staley's tutelage. I think Staley is a big candidate here. I would love to see him move up at least to offensive coordinator, but given that he's already an assistant head coach, I think just why not? Why not give him that opportunity? If the Eagles want to keep things the same, Staley's the guy. If they don't, unfortunately, it's probably not. Alright, now next up, I've got a second tier of guys that are going to be very hotly linked with the Eagles due to their success, but I'm a little bit on the fence about. And the first one is Lincoln Riley. Now, I wanted to put it out there. I love Lincoln Riley. I love the Oklahoma offense. I think he is a fantastic coach. You look at the players he's brought through. You look at the reputation he's got and the diversification of that offense. He's been, for those that maybe don't understand the football X's and O's but watch a lot of the TV broadcasts, you'll know that Sean McVay is often revered, and Lincoln Riley has had that exact same treatment as well. Now, I'm not calling him McVay the second, but I think you can see where the similarities are starting to come from, with a lot of read option, a lot of speed, a lot of plays that get his receivers open in the open field. Now, why I'm not high on this is because I feel like it would just unmask a drastic conspiracy plan that the Eagles need to veer away from at all costs. Because we need to remember that last year, Lincoln Riley was the head coach for who else but Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, who of course the team drafted in the second round. Hurts was a Heisman runner-up. He had an explosive season where he rushed almost 1,300 yards that year. If anyone knows how to use him, it's Lincoln Riley. So on one hand, you're like, if the Eagles want to double down on Jalen Hurts, you bring in his college coach, and you'd like to think that is the perfect systematic marriage to really build that next block. In doing so, though, lies in the fact that it would just look too set up, that the Eagles had purposely sabotaged Pederson's last year. They drafted the quarterback they wanted. They'd pushed the head coach out of the building to put in the guy they want with that quarterback. I think the locker room would lose it. There are already doubts. I mean, a lot of players were unhappy with the fact that Doug Pederson got fired. So, Lincoln Riley has been involved with Eagles draft discussion. Now, Riley apparently urged the Eagles to draft both Jalen Reagor Rager and Jalen Hurts last year. He's got a close relationship with Howie Roseman. For those that don't want someone to come in and almost be this suck-up to endure whatever Howie Roseman's dishing out, Riley is not that guy. He's going to just tick that box, seemingly go swimmingly, pick up a roster that has been built for him almost at this point, and march on. It could either send the Eagles to the next level, it could give Jalen Hurts the platform to succeed with the coach that knows him best, or it could break that locker room entirely. And for that reason, the one thing this team needs right now is stability. I don't think Lincoln Riley brings it. As much as I love him, as much as I think he will thrive at the next level, I can't see it happening. Next up is Brian Daboll. He's currently the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Again, he's a coach that I'm really high on because of the way he's developed Josh Allen, the way he's been able to move that offense around. They're implementing guys like Devin Singletary, like Zach Moss out the running back position in ways that can make them absolutely lethal. The reason I'm a little bit down on Brian Daboll is, who did he coach at Alabama? None other than Jalen Hurts. I think that if you bring in anyone with a link to Jalen Hurts, that locker room is going to split. They're going to see through it. They're going to want out. And there could be a few years of unrest in Philadelphia where there are a lot of anonymous sources and a lot of stories coming out. I love Brian Daboll. I think you look at what Josh Allen has done this year with over 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns and 10 picks, while adding nearly 500 yards on the ground. He has been incredible, and he's got a wide receiver one. You can argue the Eagles would have that if they can fix Wentz or use Hurts with Jalen Rager. Is Daboll going to be the guy to get them over the line? The link to Hurts is a little less obvious. He's probably a bit more favourable in that conversation than Lincoln Riley. I would still be a little bit on the fence though. Next up is Arthur Smith, and this is someone that in premise I really like. In actuality, I would be scared of. I think that you look at the Titans offense, it's a one-man band. It's Derrick Henry, the 2,000-yard rusher, the human transformer. The guy is an absolute machine. The problem is that as good as Ryan Tannehill has been since rejoining, joining the Titans, and has had his career resurrected, in many words, by Arthur Smith. I mean, he's thrown 55 touchdowns and 13 picks. He's 18-8 since joining the Titans. That offense isn't exactly flashy. There isn't a lot of explosiveness with it. Now, I understand you can go and look at a player like A.J. Brown, someone that passed 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons since entering the NFL. But I feel like that with Ryan Tannehill there is still this element of they will just pound the ball down your throat with Derrick Henry because they can, and because no one's going to stop them. When they can't do that, like we saw last week, that's when things get a little bit tricky. That's when they don't have that leverage and things can struggle. Now, I think that Arthur Smith is a great offensive coordinator. I think you look at the work he's done with Brown, with Henry, obviously with Tannehill. That's three key skill positions. We haven't even mentioned the great offensive line yet. I really think if he came to Philadelphia, he would be the one guy that would take the game of Miles Sanders to the next level. A running back that was sparingly used in 2020, someone that fans were begging to see more of, and had it not been for freak 75-yard runs every week, his numbers would be a lot lower and people would be concerned, and that's just a fact. If the Eagles want to base their offense around Miles Sanders, if they want to take the weight off of Jalen Hurts, maybe they do go with Hurts, or if they want to take the weight off of a slowly rebuilding Carson Wentz, they want someone that understands how to run the ball. This is your guy. This is a really good spot, but you're not going to get that flashy offense which the Eagles have been trying so hard to build. Next up is Eric Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this guy is an obvious go-to. You look at the work he's done with Patrick Mahomes. You look at the fact that he's worked under Andy Reid. It's very much Doug Pederson copy and paste, but not quite Mike Caffey because he wasn't a quarterback. You'd like to think that Bieniemy will be the perfect fit for this system again because he's run a branch of it over in Kansas City. He understands how it works. Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL. He has been the MVP last year, arguably one of the candidates this year. He's had a fantastic 2020 season. The Chiefs are an offensive powerhouse. Travis Kelce is among the league's receiving leaders as a tight end still. And of course, he's another former player, a former NFL running back that the front office just might seem to warm to. The next three on my list are guys that I would love to see, but I don't think happen for whatever reason. Robert Saleh of the San Francisco 49ers, or if you're British, I suppose it's Robert. Yeah, the guy's an absolute machine and someone that would fit the tone of that Eagles defense perfectly. The problem is, I don't think they need a defensive mind right now, and that's why I'm not going to list Ted Bowles on this list. I'm not going to list Jared Mayo. I think they need an offensive mind because that's where the problems are. They've got a strong defense. They've got a ton of talent there. A few schematic tweaks. If Matt Burke gets promoted, I don't think that's the end of the world. I think you can be okay with Matt Burke being promoted. Robert Saleh, though, you look at the work he did in San Francisco this year. When he loses both of his top edge rushers, they are decimated by injury, and that defense is still among the elite in the NFL week in, week out. He is intense on the sidelines. He's intense in practices. He is a rampant character, someone that will drive the best out of players, and I think it's someone the Eagles could really benefit from having on board. I don't have a single bad word to say, a single concern about Saleh, other than the fact that he's a defensive coach, and I think that the Eagles really need to focus on rebuilding this offensive tree the same way they did in Carson Wentz's rookie season. That, of course, brings me on to Joe Brady, someone that many people pounded the table for last year as a coach that truly blew up at LSU, that helped Joe Burrow win the Heisman, which I now keep on my mantelpiece, so it's lovely, it really is. Now, the Panthers' offense on the surface didn't improve much from last year, but they had no Christian McCaffrey. However, Teddy Bridgewater had his best year yet in the opinion of many. He threw for a career high in yards, which obviously the last season he had to contend with was 2015 with the Vikings, despite playing, though, one less game this time around. I think the Panthers did a great job of molding their offense around him. And even if Teddy Bridgewater wasn't your guy, or you didn't feel sold on his development, and the fact the Panthers were 4-11 may take away from those achievements, they still had two 1,000-yard receivers this season. Despite that team being bad, two 1,000-yard receivers, they had a quarterback that completed nearly 70% of his passes, and they didn't have the most game-breaking running back in the NFL. I think it's a great shot. I think Joe Brady would be perfect to build up this offense from the ground up and have just a sense of renewed energy. Someone that is young, he's proven himself at the college level, he's now done it at the NFL. I don't see anything wrong with this. But what do you think, guys? Who do you want to see replace Doug Pederson? Let me know down in the comments section below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you next time.